Good morning, evening, night, depending on where you're joining us from, and welcome back to the 20P podcast. I'm your host, Steve Bondi. We know you all missed us last week, and believe me, Conrad also missed you a little bit. He was letting me know about 20 times a day that he wished we didn't have technical difficulties, but that's the world we live in here in 2025. Technology is great, but it's got to work for us. Like I said, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, and the broadcast was the reason we did not have an episode come out last week. And to make things even better, we had a little bit more of technical difficulties on the pick 'em side of things. So all picks that were placed last week for week 12 of college football were not submitted. And if you do want to get those points accredited, please message our Instagram at 20Piece Podcast, and we will make sure that we get those up to date. Anthony, do you have any more insight or just thoughts on the technology side of things here?
No, not really. I have a basic idea of what everybody scored. I know that some of you didn't go 9-1 or 8-2, so don't DM me with that. So that's all I got with that. My bad.
Honor code here. There is no prize at the end of the year. This year, we're looking to change that for future pick'ems. So not too big of a deal if you do want to say you go 10-0, but we know none of y'all did. So stay true to yourself here. I do want to mention we are looking at improving the technology, making the pick'ems more enjoyable, more engaging. So if you guys have any thoughts or just any general, considerations of how we can make this better for you all, definitely let us know. Give us some feedback, whether it's positive, whether it's negative. Probably going to be a lot of negative with me saying this right now, but go ahead and let's hear it in the comments. Also message us at SJ Bondi, at Anthony Evans, or at 20Piece Podcast. That being said, the third week of college football playoffs have been released, and of course, people are going to be complaining from the outside looking in. College basketball is starting to get a little bit spicy. The week before the Thanksgiving tournaments are starting to tip off, and as always, we have the great Anthony Evans joining us, as well as the three-man front show host on Jocks 94.5, Conrad Van Order. Gentlemen, welcome to it. Let's dive into this week head first, but quick, a message from our sponsor. This week's episode is brought to you by Birmingham Sports, your one-stop shop for everything happening in the Magic City sports scene. Get out, go to a game, and stay up to date with everything Birmingham related on Instagram at Birmingham Sports and on X at Birmingham Sports as well. All right, diving in. Week 3 of the college football playoffs have been released. Gentlemen, I know there's been a lot of controversy going on across all networks here. Top 8 pretty solid. You're looking at 9-16, a little shaky with a few outliers scattered across the back end of the top 25. Conrad, just looking here at the top 25 in the week 3 college football release here, what stands out to you? What do you think could happen the next 2 weeks, and what are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, certainly the most interesting week that we've had so far in terms of, I feel I'm going to try not to rant here. I'm going to try my best not to go on a rant. But this was the week that we finally, I think, found out what the committee values the most, right? Because if you remember going back in years past, they kind of changed things year to year. If you remember last year, they were all about wins, right? How many wins you have doesn't matter who you beat. It just matters, do you have more wins? That's kind of how they determine who got in the college football playoff. This year, they seem to be taking an interesting turn where they are, if you listen to kind of what Hunter Yurachek, the chairperson, had to say after the rankings were revealed. They care more about who you lost to than who you beat. And so I'm, again, we can go through all the different teams that have been kind of shafted in this, but I think the big part of this is Alabama, Notre Dame, and then you kind of throw Miami in there as well. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me how you're going to give Notre Dame more credit for having one ranked win than Alabama's 4 ranked wins. But it's because Alabama lost to Florida State, which I get that's not a very good loss. I totally understand that. But it just seems kind of backwards if we're in a college football world where it matters more who you lose to as opposed to who you beat. You're telling me that you're going to give more credit to Alabama losing to Florida State than them beating Georgia is basically what you're saying. And if that's how they are, then that's how it's going to be this year. But I just think that whole thing is very sideways. And then you throw Miami in the mix there and how, they're not even being evaluated on the same level as Notre Dame because of who they've lost to, despite the fact they've won head-to-head. In my opinion, I think if you beat somebody head-to-head, that matters more than who you lost to compared to who they lost to. But apparently the committee doesn't see that way. So it'll be interesting these next couple of weeks how it lays out. That's kind of my mini rant. But I think I'll be honest with you, I think they're idiots. I think it's dumb if you're going to rank teams based on who they lost to as opposed to who they beat. Because again, you're just telling people not to play tough non-conference games. And I think we want more of those in college football. But why would you schedule more if you're not rewarded for them? So I think it's dumb.
100%. I think the biggest takeaway from your mini rant there, we'll call it, you're also looking at the Florida State, for instance. They were ranked when Bama lost to them, but now they're not ranked. So do you take into consideration the ranking of when you played them or at the end of the year where they end up? There's just so much outliers that it's a long football season. A lot of things change. I did have this video resurface of the late, great Mike Leach where he was basically just going on a mini rant like yourself, stating that we need to enforce the committees and who's going to be on this committee and all this committee. The committee doesn't even know who's on the committee. They don't even know how to relate to the committee. They don't even know what football is at the end of the day. So mini rant, we're going to dive through it. Anthony, you got any 2 cents on the week 3 releasing?
Yeah, let me go on my mini rant real quick. I'll one up y'all. I've been saying the whole process of just rankings in general has been just stupid from the beginning of the season. Like the AP poll, that didn't really make much sense when it first came out to me, and then it just continued to be just every time you look at it, you're like, wait, why are they in there? You know what I mean? Or why are they as high as they are? So college football or college sports in general, I guess, when the NIL first came out, everybody was saying it's the Wild Wild West. It truly is the Wild Wild West now. When you add this kind of stuff into it, it's like, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
Got to have Governor Saban jump in and take over that presidential role.
I think a lot of people would be happy about that. I will say this year, though, it does feel like this year has been kind of the poster child for what we're talking about here because you go back and look at Texas was going to win a national championship. Arch Manning was going to be the Heisman. You just look at the player, Arch, Garrett Nussmeier, Lenore Sellers, Clay Klubnik, all these guys that were supposed to be amazing, all these teams that were supposed to be amazing, like Texas. It just hasn't worked out that way. And so I totally agree with what you said, Anthony, right? There's so many changes season to season now. You can completely remake a roster in one off season now. I would be fine if we didn't do playoff rankings until when the playoff committee starts ranking teams at the beginning of November, because then you have a sample size to rank these teams off of. Otherwise, we're just going off of vibes. And, people don't like to admit it. You're ranking teams based on what they did the year before, and it's a completely different team that you're ranking this season. It's stupid.
Yeah, and Bonnie mentioned, or on a previous episode that, like, let's not even have an AP poll ranking until, conference play starts. Let's see what they do in the non-conference.
Yeah.
Things kind of shift around, or they're planning on shifting around now, potentially with playing, those Power 4 non-conference games. So let's play the SEC Big Ten games in the non-conference, and then we'll decide who's, 1 through 25.
100%. 100%. Conrad, I like your shout where you're looking at the top 5 quarterbacks that were going to be ready for the draft. Now they're looking, who's going to be ready to sell some car insurance. So quick season can turn around, and obviously whatever format and system the AP has, the College Football Playoff Committee has, none of us know, none of us can make that assumption, and that's why we're sitting here talking about it. So I do want to just run through real quick. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Oklahoma. Those are pretty much solid, locked in the playoffs, at least from what we're seeing here. Ohio State, if they beat Michigan, they're going to the Big Ten championship. Indiana, if they beat Purdue, they're going to the Big Ten championship. Texas A&M, if they beat Texas, not this week but next week, they're going to the SEC championship. Georgia already going to the SEC championship. Texas Tech already going to the Big 12 championship. Then you got Ole Miss, Oregon, Oklahoma. Pretty solid teams there. Notre Dame, they're getting a lot of heat right now. Not playing anybody, not being in a conference. They just expect to walk in. I know there's controversy that Michigan may be doing the same thing, bouncing out of the Big Ten. Do we see Notre Dame getting in, and how is that going to work for them to earn a spot in the playoff committee here?
Yeah, I think they're going to get in, right? They have Syracuse, and then I forgot who they have the last week. They have 2 easy games, so they're going to win out, and they're going to get in. And I don't really think there's a whole lot you can do about it, right? If they were in the 10 spot where Alabama is now, I think then you have an interesting debate of, let's say BYU upsets Texas Tech, right, in the Big 12 championship. Then maybe that's a scenario where Notre Dame would have gotten bumped out for BYU, but now that situation would be Alabama getting bumped out for BYU. So I think Notre Dame's pretty locked in. I will say one thing, kind of a quick correction is, so for the SEC championship game, Texas A&M, if they beat Texas, they're going. Georgia needs some help from other teams. So Alabama and Texas A&M are still slated to play in Atlanta. It just depends. Georgia needs Kentucky to beat Vanderbilt, Arkansas to beat Texas, and Florida to beat Tennessee. I believe those are the three things. All those have to happen for them to make the SEC championship game. So it's confusing. There's a lot of weird tiebreakers and stuff that'll make that one interesting. But yeah, as far as Notre Dame goes, they're going to get in. They're Notre Dame. They get the treatment every year.
They're 2 L's of the season. You're looking at Miami and A&M, and I think if they were to play them again, they have a chance at beating Miami. But I don't think Notre Dame beats A&M, and to me, that trumps it all. I think you need to sit this one out, Notre Dame.
Well, Miami's best win. Okay, so Notre Dame's best win is USC. Miami's best win is Notre Dame. Like Miami's best win is better than Notre Dame's, and it's against Notre Dame. But yeah, they're going to be left out in favor of the Irish.
Fair. And then you're looking at Miami. It looks like they're bidded to be in the 11th seed with the ACC Conference Championship, but it's not likely that Miami's going to the ACC Championship. You're looking at Georgia Tech. If they win, they're going. And then you're also looking at Virginia. If they win against Virginia Tech, they're going to the ACC Championship. So how does Miami sneak in without going to the ACC Championship, where the ACC is just not as dominant as a conference as the Big Ten or the SEC or even the Big 12 this year?
I think they're kind of cooked.
Yeah. It goes back to what we were talking about again with the rankings. Notre Dame, it just doesn't make sense that they're ranked higher than Miami when they lost to Miami directly. I mean, that shouldn't be the way it is, and Miami's going to have to fight to get in after beating one of the playoff teams. That it's just all backwards, man.
Do we think that there's a scenario where there's a 2-team ACC reference or representation here?
You would have to have. I'm trying to even think of what would happen. I mean, the easiest thing to happen would be like if Oklahoma. So obviously, if Oklahoma loses one of their last 2 games or Alabama loses to Auburn, that's going to open up a spot, right? So maybe that's your path, but it feels like you'd have to have some pretty crazy things happen the last 2 weeks to get in.
I honestly think a two-team ACC representation is better than Notre Dame getting in. And Anthony and I were talking about this before we jumped on here. You're looking at the SEC. They're not going to get punished for going to the SEC championship game and losing that. But the ACC might be the complete opposite, where the loser of the SEC championship game does not make the playoffs, but Miami sneaks in behind them and does. So, again, there's just a bunch of hoopla going on, and I'm thankful that I'm not on the committee. I'm sure you guys are doing the same, and that's why we're sitting here talking about it and not putting our votes in. So let's move on from it. 2 weeks left. It's going to get spicy. Grab your popcorn. Grab your leftover turkey. Let's see how this thing pans out here. Diving into the Week 12 Pick 'em results, starting off with our glorious Notre Dame Fighting Irish going on the road to Pitt, taking them down 37-15. They were able to cover that 10.5-point spread. No issue there. LSU, Arkansas on the road in Baton Rouge was a close one there. Lost by 1, 23-22. Tigers take it home. But Arkansas was able to cover that 5.5-point underdog there. Oklahoma versus Alabama on the road in Bryant-Denny. 7.5 points from Bama. Forget the spread. They went ahead and won outright. Oklahoma 23, Bama 21. Iowa on the road at USC. USC being a 6.5-point favorite here. Iowa covering that, losing, but only by 5 here. 26-21. Trojans take it away there. Virginia going on the road to Duke. Duke being a 6.5-point favorite. And another just complete upset here. Virginia 34, Duke 17. That's 20 piece in the Vegas eyes there. No problem there for the Virginia. What are they? The Commodores?
Cavaliers.
Cavaliers.
Close.
V Commodores. It's something there. Florida Ole Miss on the road. Miss Ole Miss was a 15.5-point favorite here. Was definitely close, and then at the very end, Miss Ole Miss pulled it away 34-24. Florida covering that there. Utah on the road at Baylor. Don't know if you guys watched that one. Got a little chippy at the end. Added a little UFC fight towards the middle of it all. Was definitely entertaining, but at the end of the day, the Utah Utes won 55-28, covering the 8.5-point favorite there. Texas versus Georgia. Very similar matchup, 6.5-point favorite in Sanford Stadium for the UGA Bulldogs, but they took it away 35-10, was close up until about halfway through the third quarter, and then they just ran crazy with it. Onside in the middle of the fourth quarter, just absolute brilliance.
That was nasty work.
Brilliant work by him.
That was a straight double finger to Texas.
I'm here for it. Yeah, I'm going to say horns down, but a little different representation there.
Yeah.
UCLA going to the road on Ohio State, 48-10. Ohio State takes it away there. They were a 31.5-point favorite there, and they handled that no problem at all. Definitely a 20-piece, almost a 40-piece there. And then last game of the night, you were looking TCU on the road at BYU. BYU only a 5.5-point favorite. Felt like that was a little disrespectful there because they smacked them down 44-13. Also put another 20-piece on the board there. 20-piece of the week. A little disrespectful from this team that they thought they deserved a little more shout on the college football playoff committee here. James Madison, 58, App State 10. That is a 48-piece. Absolute beautiful work by the James Madison team there. They're putting up a fight to maybe be a little more talk than they're getting on the college football playoff committee here. What do you guys say? I mean, is James Madison, are they ruled out here, or is that going to be just sorry, little bro, step up to a bigger league?
That's another thing that I got a problem with the rankings. I'm kind of with Feinbaum. Like if there's nobody that's obviously the best non-Power 4 team, we don't need to have them in the playoff. I mean, they're going to get smacked by whoever they play first round, for sure. Whoever it is.
Yeah, it's basically a first round bye for whoever the 5 seed is.
Yeah.
Right? You get the benefit of playing a not very competitive team. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's dumb that we even give them a spot in the playoff, but that's the way it's going to be. You know, I get it. Like a couple years ago, y'all remember when Cincinnati made it in and they played Alabama? Like that year, it felt like, okay, we deserve to give them a chance, right? They gave a chance. They lost, got beat pretty bad. It felt like that was our opportunity to say, all right, we gave you all a seat at the table. It didn't work out. Let's move on from this. But yeah, here we are.
I mean, what was Cincinnati's record that year, Conrad? Do you have any idea?
I think they were 12-0. They were either 11-1 or 12-0.
Okay, so the best one right now is Tulane at 8-2. Like, you know,
Well,
I like Tulane, but yeah, I mean,
James Madison, they're 9-1.
Yeah, Tulane's the one that's projected to get in, though, right?
Yeah, because they love the American Conference. See, but this again, just quickly going back to what we're talking about, like Miami.
Yeah.
I'd much rather see Miami in a playoff than James Madison. Like Miami, you know, it's going to be a competitive game. They might lose, but it's going to be competitive.
Yep.
I mean, but James Madison, they're winning, but they're winning by a lot of points here. It's not just like they're sneaking by. And I get they're in the Sun Belt, but they're dominating their teams. Their one loss was to Virginia, I believe, which again they're potentially going to the ACC Conference Championship game. So I don't think it's necessarily out of the blue.
See, I don't think Virginia is a playoff team.
That's
my thing. It's like your best loss is against a team that we're like, I don't want to see Virginia in the playoff.
Right. No, neither do I. But I'm just saying there's a chance. I'm not taking a betting on chance, but there's a chance.
Yeah.
There's a chance. All right, let's dive in. Week 12 pick 'em. Starting off in the SEC, number 22 Missouri on the road at number 8 Oklahoma, 11 a.m. at ABC. Oklahoma here being a 7.5-point favorite. Anthony, give me your insight here. What's going to happen here in Boomer Sooner land?
Parabola out. Oklahoma wins it by 10. Give me the Sooners minus 7.5.
Love it. Conrad, you following or switching it up?
Yeah, I think Oklahoma's going to win this game. I'm actually going to take Missouri, though. I think defensively, Missouri is still very, very good and can cause Oklahoma some problems. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Mizzou won this game outright because, I like Oklahoma. They beat Alabama last week. They did just enough to win that game. I'm just not super impressed with their offense right now, and I'm not impressed with Missouri's either with the struggles they've had and the quarterback injury and all that. So I think this is a tough spot for Oklahoma, though. This will be their third straight game against a ranked opponent. They have all the pressure on them now after beating Alabama. So I think Missouri can keep it close, but I like the Sooners to win by, 3 points, something like that.
Love it. Anthony, hate to break it to you, but we're going to make you feel bad here.
Here we go.
Conrad coming off a beautiful 8-2 week last week. Myself, 9-1. I'm also going to ride with Missouri covering the 7.5. Oklahoma, impressive win on the road, upsetting Alabama. They're going to have momentum, but I think Missouri is just that team that they got nothing to lose. They're not going to the SEC championship game. They're not going to the playoffs. So why not just play your tail off? 7.5. It's going to be close, like you said, Conrad. Do I think Missouri's going to win? Probably not, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer than 7.5 points here, maybe 2 or 3, like you said. So give me Mizzou covering here. Moving over to the ACC, Louisville at SMU, 11 a.m. ESPN2. SMU being the home team, also getting 3.5-point favorite. Anthony, lead us off. What's going to happen here?
3.5 is going to be a close game for sure. I'm going to take the Cards here plus the points, just because I think SMU's been a little wishy-washy all season. So I like Louisville in this one.
Solid. Conrad, what you got?
Yeah, I think this will be a pretty competitive game. I've kind of fallen off Louisville a little bit, obviously, since their big win over Miami kind of stumbled a couple times, and just feels like it's going to be a rough end of the season for them. And I like SMU, right? SMU's been playing pretty good football here as of late. They also have the upset win over Miami as well. It's a close one here. I'm going to go with SMU. They seem to be the hotter team right now, but I could see this a coin flip game for me, but I'll go SMU.
All right, lining up 2 for 2, Conrad and Steve against Anthony here. I'm riding with the ponies of SMU as well, 3.5. I mean, believe it or not, this is a big playoff implication game here. SMU is holding on to a chance that they get in the ACC title game. That's not really talked about at all. 7-3 record. I know it's ugly, but there's value there. Rhett Lashley signing a mid-year contract extension. Obviously, there's reason for that. He's doing a pretty damn good job. They almost upset Georgia Tech, which is projected to go into the ACC Conference Championship game. And all that to be said, they still have a chance to go play them in the ACC Championship game. I did make note here, Louisville's back-to-back losses. And it's all about, you talk about March Madness when the basketball side of things, you got to get hot at the right time. Louisville's just not hot right now. Coming off back-to-back losses, I think this is going to be back-to-back losses for them. Give me SMU by at least a touchdown here.
I was going to bring that point up when we were talking about non-power 4 teams getting into the playoff. This isn't March. This isn't college basketball. There's no Cinderella stories here, so I don't know about that, Bondi. But if y'all want to go against me for the rest of the time, that's cool. I get it.
Well, let's see what you got here. Washington State on the road at James Madison, 12 o'clock on ESPN+. James Madison, like we said earlier, they're putting up some points here. 13.5-point favorite here against the Washington State Cougars. Anthony, lead us off. Are we going to go against you or go with you here?
I'm going to put my foot in my mouth on this one and take James Madison just because Washington State's so bad. So I'll take James Madison minus 13.5.
Hey, Washington State, they did lose to the Pac-12 champions this year.
Yeah.
They almost beat Ole Miss. Remember that?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Was that a 3-point game or something close?
Yeah, 2 or 3 point game, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Conrad, you following suit or switching it up?
Oh, Anthony stole my line from me because, again, and I'm sure this will come up when we talk about Notre Dame too later. But, yeah, I think Wazoo sucks. JMU's the better team. I think they win big, even though we just talked about how they shouldn't be in the playoffs.
Well, I made note. Washington State lost to a 2-9 Oregon State team here. I think James Madison goes in and win by 29 points at home. They're covering, and I think they're going to put a little bit more noise. They're going to be a little ticked off that the college football playoff committee didn't even mention them. So give me the Dukes at home here. Top 15 matchup on the road in Eugene. Number 15 USC going to Oregon. Number 7 2:30 CBS. Oregon being a 10.5-point favorite. Anthony, lead us off. What's going on here?
USC barely got by Iowa last week, but Oregon hadn't really played anybody all year. This is a tough one. I think 10.5 is a little too high, so I'll go with USC.
You're saying they just squeaked by Iowa, but then Oregon also just squeaked by Iowa. So you're
That's
giving no credit to Iowa here.
yeah, that's
Well, it's
true.
Iowa.
Maybe I was a more decent football team than I'm giving
Power.
credit for.
Fair, fair. So you got USC covering the 10.5.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, Conrad, follow it up. What we got?
Yeah, I'm going same train of thought for me. This is kind of the prove it moment for me with Oregon. Obviously, they have the talent. I just haven't seen them play anybody, and I think USC they're kind of hot right now. I really like. I think Lincoln Riley's done a great job with that team this year. So 10.5 is a little rich for me. I think USC covers. I guess my hot take for the week, I could see USC winning this game outright and finding themselves in the playoffs next week, based on the rankings that come out. I think Oregon's a little overrated still. So prove me wrong, Dan Lanning. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Trojans to cover and potentially even win outright.
All right, I'm switching it up. I'm taking Oregon 10.5, and I'll tell you why. You're looking at Dante Moore, one of the absolute powerhouse quarterbacks here, leading the Ducks. No problem at all. USC, they lost to number 21 Illinois and an overrated number 9 Notre Dame team. If talking about not playing anybody, I think USC is a perfect example of that. Oregon lost to the 2025 national champs, the Indiana Hoosier, this year. And that's just going to continue to show themselves of why they're dominant. The Indiana Hoosiers, I'm saying here. But Oregon, their defense only giving up 13.7 points a game. Obviously, you have that outlier losing to Indiana, giving up 30 there. I'll let USC score above average 14 points here, but they're not covering that 10.5. I'm taking Oregon here, no problem at all. Going back to the SEC, Kentucky at number 14, Vanderbilt 2:30 on ESPN. Vandy being a 9.5 point favorite. Anthony, what are the Commodores going to do in Music City this week?
Cover for sure. We didn't get the chance, or I didn't get the chance to bring it up a minute ago, but in that scenario where Alabama loses to Auburn, Oklahoma somehow loses, say Vanderbilt beats Tennessee, they're in the playoff for sure. I would think over Miami, but it starts here this week, 1 week at a time. Vandy's going to cover against Kentucky 9.5.
Fair, Anthony or Conrad, you following
Yeah,
suit or switching it up?
yeah. I mean, Kentucky's been they've looked better really ever since that Auburn win kind of seemed to catapult them a little bit in the second half of the season. They looked really good against Florida, but yeah, Vandy and Diego Pavia, man, they still have those playoff hopes alive. I think they get a big win, and it's hard for me to go against Diego Pavia, man. So yeah, give me the doors.
All right, I like Vandy as well. I think that's a three-peat there for them. Vandy's obviously coming off an overtime nail biter against Auburn the week before their bye. I think they're going to be well rested. They're going to be healthy. Am a little concerned. You had the CMA music presentation in Nashville on Wednesday this week. You also had Diego Pavia with Cam Scadaboo in Madison Square Garden this past weekend at the UFC event. So, is he thinking it's party time or is he thinking it's football time? Not really sure what's going on there. I think he found a little bit of punches in the UFC ring, and that's going to continue to carry over to the gridiron there. Vandy's covering 9.5, no problem there.
That's a good find, Bondi. I had no idea about that.
Oh yeah, dude, I'll give it to him. Not my style, but he was dripped out. Denim pants, denim jacket, gold chain. I think he was even rocking a little bit of grill. Like he definitely pulled up to New York in some style there.
That good at NIL money.
Yeah, yeah. He's set. Kansas State on the road at number 12, Utah, 3:00 on ESPN2. Utah, dominant action here. 16.5 point favorite against Kansas State. Anthony, lead it off. What are the Utes going to do this weekend?
16.5 seems like a lot, but they just who they play last week.
Baylor.
Yeah, they smacked Baylor last week. Well, I'll say this. Every time I pick Kansas State in these pick'ems, it doesn't work out for me. So I'll go Utah minus 16.5.
Very nice. Conrad, you following suit?
Yeah, I am. Kansas State, man, they've been a disappointment this year because I'm like Anthony. I've gotten burned on them a couple times earlier in the year. I thought they were going to have a really good chance to maybe win the Big 12 this year, and they've just been a big disappointment. And Utah, has been really, really good when they're not playing the top teams in the conference. So, yeah, I think they score a lot of points early and often. Give me Utah big.
All right, another three-piece here. I'm also going Utah 16.5, no problem there. It's not the Kansas State that we knew with Bill Snyder. This is just a completely different program. He's still athletic director, honorary member, well deserved, but the football program just isn't quite there yet. You also got Devon Dampier and Blessed Trinity alumni. Shout out again, Ryan Davis. They're the top six, not the two of them, but Utah as a whole, top six in the nation scoring, and their defense is just 15.6 points a game allowed. Another top 10 category there. 16 and a half, like you said, Anthony, is a lot, but 27 points against Baylor. I think they're on high alert for another 20 piece of not of the week, but a 20 piece this week. So give me Utah 16.5, no problem here. Playoff implication game, Pittsburgh on the road in the Rainbow and Wreck of Georgia Tech, number 16 there, 6 o'clock on ESPN. Tech being a 2.5 point favorite. Anthony, lead us off. What's going to happen in Atlanta here?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I'm going to probably put my foot in my mouth, but, saying it's not college basketball, so I don't want to talk about peaking at the right time, but Georgia Tech barely squeaked by Boston College and lost to NC State their last two games. Pitt, got beat by Notre Dame pretty good. 2.5 is a really good line. This is a tough pick. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh plus 2.5 here.
Georgia Tech wins or Pittsburgh outright?
It's going to be close. I don't want to say, Bondi. I don't want to say. I don't know.
Okay. You put one foot in your mouth, just not two.
That's right.
All right. Conrad, what's your pick here?
I'm putting both feet in my mouth. I think Pitt wins outright. I like Georgia Tech. I really do like Georgia Tech. I like Brent Key a lot. Man, they played with fire so many times this year. They barely beat a bad Clemson team. They almost lost to Boston College. They lost to NC State. They should have lost to Wake Forest. I think they're a really solid team, but I don't think they're anything special. So I'm taking Pitt. I think they bounce back nicely from Notre Dame.
All right, I'm going to step in here. Are you guys forgetting what Pat Narduzzi said last week? I mean, I think all of Pittsburgh Panthers teams have basically written their notice to say, hey, I'm entering the transfer portal as soon as this becomes open, because this man goes out and says, I don't care if we lose by 100, and then goes out and loses by 22, which I don't know what's worse. I mean, it wasn't even
That
close.
just means they spent 2 weeks on Georgia Tech, Bondi.
Well, so be it. But it's not going to look that way this weekend. They're going to come out. Georgia Tech's going to be running. They're looking to go play in Charlotte in a couple weeks, punch a ticket to the college football playoffs. And if they're going to get steamrolled by Pittsburgh, that's not going to happen. So I think Brent Key is pitching that to the players. I think they're learning and they're understanding what that message is. And I like Georgia Tech 2.5. And it might be a 1 touchdown, 2 touchdown game maybe. So give me the Rainbow and Wreck at Georgia Tech. Atlanta, Saturday night, under the lights. You don't know, but Bobby Dodd is the oldest college football stadium in the country right now. A lot of history on that field, and there's going to be some history written this Saturday. So give me the Rainbow and Wreck of Georgia Tech here. Nebraska Penn State. What a matchup this is. On the road in Happy Valley, 6 o'clock NBC, 9.5 point favorite for the Nittany Lions. Anthony, what's going on here? Are they going to be Happy Valley or a little bit of Death Valley here?
Man, I don't know. Just going off of the close game they played with Indiana a couple weeks ago, I'll go ahead and take Penn State because Nebraska's quarterback still hurt, isn't he?
Yeah, he's out for the season.
Yeah, give me Penn State.
10 points, man.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I have zero interest in watching a single second of this football game. I'm going to take Nebraska, I guess. I think they're both kind of bad teams. I think a lot of defense, not a whole lot of points being scored. I think Penn State wins, but 9.5 for either of these teams is a little rich for me. I'll take Nebraska to cover, but I think this is a gross football game.
All right, I'm going to ride with Conrad here. Nebraska, 9.5. That's a lot of points for – I mean, you're looking at the records. You got Penn State's, 3-6?
4-6? Nebraska's been pretty good this year.
And Nebraska's 7-3, I believe. And I know you're looking at the one to be Patrick Mahomes. He's out for the season, but guess who filled in? TJ Lateef. And he's out of Compton, California. And so help me, if he can make it out of Compton, sure as hell he can make it out of Happy Valley. I mean, you're going into a place called Happy Valley. How intimidated are you going to be here? I like the Huskers here. 9.5. That's just way too much. That's absolute disrespect for a 7-3 team. Tennessee on the road at Florida, 6:30 ABC. Tennessee, a 3.5-point favorite on the road. Night game in the Swamp. Anthony, are they going to be singing some Tom Petty, or are they going to be gone by the fourth quarter here?
Man, I don't know about this one either. This is why y'all had me pick first, because y'all could go against me, right? Because y'all gonna know the right pick.
Well, yeah, starting off, 2 for 2, whereas Conrad
right.
is, yeah, you're on point.
Yeah. Man, I think Tennessee's a little overrated. Um, they've been talking about them just being in the rankings just to make the SEC look better or whatever, along with Missouri. I'll go with Tennessee on the road here, 3.5 though. Just because my boy Jordan Ross.
Good pick, my boy. Good pick. Conrad, you following suit or switching it up?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Tennessee on this one as well. This one's Florida's been so hard to keep track of, man, because they played really competitive in some games that you would have thought they just got bowled over, and then you go and look at the Kentucky game, and you're like, what the hell happened to this team? So I'm going to go with Tennessee. I think they're better than Florida. I really like their quarterback. Not great defensively. I would probably take the over in this game. I think there's probably going to be a lot of points scored if you could go that route. But yeah, I'll take Tennessee. I think they're the better team, and yeah, I'll go with the better team, better quarterback.
I'm going 3 for 3 here. Tennessee as well, 3.5. No problem there. One call out I do want to shout. Tennessee 7-3. All three of their losses: number 4 Georgia in overtime, number 10 Bama at home, and number 8 Oklahoma at home. All three playoff teams. I think Tennessee was that close to being in the playoff contention. Obviously, so 3.5 points is a little generous for the Gators here. Give me the Vols by double digits. No problem at all. Wrapping it up, 11 BYU on the road at Cincinnati, 7 o'clock on Fox. BYU, a 2.5-point favorite here. Anthony, lead us off for the final game of the week. What's happening here?
Another one that's just up in the air for me. I'll go with the Mormons here, -2.5.
Conrad following suit or switching it up?
Yeah, they're not playing Texas Tech, and that really seems to be the team defensively that gave them fits. Obviously, in that game they dominated them. So yeah, I'll take BYU again. Still trying to get back and secure that spot in the Big 12 championship, maybe sneak into the playoffs. So I think they take care of business against Cincinnati, and you got a bunch of BYU fans soaking it in this weekend.
Love it. I think y'all guys harped on it perfectly. BYU has just one loss, and that's to the Big 12 favorite Texas Tech, and beat Utah. BYU beat Utah 24-21, while Cincinnati is coming off back-to-back losses. First one to Utah, 45-14. 2.5, I think, is another disrespect to the Cougars. I like going in here and winning by 2 scores, whether that's 8 points or whether that's 14. But I like BYU, no problem here. All right, going in, we got the 20-piece of the week. Couple good games that are, a week before Thanksgiving, just last minute. We need it on the schedule. Anthony, who you got being the 20-piece of the week this week?
The Sanford Bulldogs have to go into College Station. Bucky McMillan gave a little quote either yesterday or today. Conrad, I'm sure you've heard it. He said, "I love football and I'm an Aggie. Sanford will play hard. I'm going to talk to Coach Elko and tell him to score 100, but maybe not 1,000 on him." So give me the Aggies by 100 against the Sanford Bulldogs this week.
Not a bad pick there. Conrad, you following suit or going to switch it up on us?
I think that's a great pick. I almost went that route, but I'll try to mix it up a little bit. We can just call this the Foot in Your Mouth special edition of the podcast because we've been very hypocritical, and I'm about to do it again. Give me Notre Dame over Syracuse. I know we spent a lot of time talking about how ridiculous it is they get the benefit of the doubt from the committee, but Syracuse is really, really bad, and Notre Dame is really good at beating the crap out of bad teams. So I like Notre Dame. I think they win by 35+ over Syracuse.
Well, that's the spread there, 35.5. So you're saying Notre Dame is not covering by that half point?
Oh, it's 35. Okay, well, then they're going to win by 36 or more.
Okay, all right. So Notre Dame covers. You got Charlotte going on the road into Athens at Georgia. Georgia, a 43.5-point favorite. Anthony, love your shout of A&M hosting Samford. Samford is 1-10, and they've only played one time in the past. That was in 2020. Conrad, you want to take a crack at what that score was?
Ooh, I'm gonna go 59-0.
Close, but not close enough. 71-3.
Ooh.
I think history is going to repeat itself. Samford 1-10. The teams they've played just haven't put up good points there, if any. Texas A&M, they're getting a lot of criticism for playing the bottom half of the SEC. I think they're going to go out and put a dominant win and get some momentum rolling into the Texas game there. So, Anthony, I'm gonna ride that A&M pick with you, and 20 piece by the Aggies here. And that's going to wrap it up for Week 12 of the College Football Pick'em here at the 20 Piece Podcast. Really thankful you guys have joined us in and made it this far in the episode. Make sure you get your points in, your picks in. We're going to continue to produce and make the basketball pick'ems. But if you have any feedback, any criteria that you want to get added or see more of, definitely let us know. I'm your host, Steve Bondi. Conrad, Anthony, appreciate you guys jumping on. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a 20-piece week.